Hey everyone, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the concept of surrender? Surrender is one of the many yin activities. It's part of receiving. If you recall in my previous episode, I discussed masculine and feminine energy. I mentioned how receiving is yin and giving is yang. Taban, this is all sexual context. So what is the art of surrender in this specific context? It's being present, being familiar with what feels good in your body and what you want and do not want. It's open, clear communication with your partner. For surrender to take place, a safe space must be created. As human beings, we are wired for sexual pleasure. To us, it's as natural as breathing, but many of us resist the concept because of trauma or shame. Shame is a big trigger point that blocks the feeling of surrender. If you don't think it is, think of how many women who openly owned their sexuality and embraced their sexual energy ended up being called a slut. That's heavy. Dear بالكم, I'm not talking about خرابة بيوت. طبعا there's many different contexts to sexuality that can't be narrowed down in one episode or be given by one example. But I'm talking about someone who enjoys sexual, consensual relationships with different partners. Or even someone who has one partner but holds herself well, and you feel her energy is vibrant. Generally, women who own their sexual energy end up being told off and shamed for it. Shame is one way to kill our stimuli. Another one is trauma. Everyone has some sort of trauma. And to clarify what trauma is, trauma can be any experience that you have had that your body hasn't processed. It's not so much about the event itself, as much as it's your response to it. Sexual trauma can sometimes have the same effect as someone feeling a huge sense of abandonment because their mother forgot to pick them up one day and as a child, fatu بالحيط. It's all about context and how people process things. I personally did not find it a fair comparison when I was studying, but as I started to understand that context is everything and a horrible feeling to me could be somewhat of an acceptable thing to someone else, I realized that the world is bigger and holds more colors than just black and white. When there is shame or a trauma layer, protection is created around someone's sexual energy and resistance takes place. Resistance is the opposite of surrender. What are some of the things that can help create a safe environment? Please note that these are some things and not everything. Create a safe environment. Choose a place that you feel comfortable in. Trust. Trusting your partner is very important. Studies have shown that the more you trust your partner sexually, the more likely you are to explore more unsafe sexual experiences together. Eliminate distraction. So if you're a little OCD and you can't stop thinking about the unwashed dishes that you and your significant other left from dinner, then please get up, do the dishes, and then come back. Ditch the clock. Worrying about how long it could take to have an orgasm is thinking of the destination, which means your mind is not in it. You've completely missed the journey and you are already way ahead of the experience. Take as much time as you need. If someone's tongue gets tired, you know what? Use something else. It's between you and them. As long as it's consensual, anything can be on the table. Make the effort. Those who say that good sex should be effortless are 100% wrong. Creating a romantic environment so that you can set the mood, cooking up a nice dinner, waxing, shaving, and showering. All that is effort to try and guarantee a safe romantic environment to let go and surrender and experience pleasure. Some women have asked me, "Tab Dana, what about the build-up towards an orgasm and then mentally blocking? What do we do then?" Practice. If it's self-pleasure or with a partner, try to eliminate all sorts of distractions and try to focus on what feels good in your body. Remember, when you trust your partner, you would be worrying less about the red flags that could come up, and you can be more involved in the experience. Practice breathing in if you're feeling overwhelmed. Letting go can be scary to many women, and it takes practice to trust yourself and your partner. Breathing has been an incredible life-changing technique for me, and I recommend you start with breathing. Why is breathing so important? Think of how many times you were completely off and someone's just said, "Relax, just breathe." That's what I'm asking you now to try. Relax, just breathe in. To relax, you need to breathe. To surrender, you need to be in a relaxed environment mentally and physically. Unfortunately, this isn't a one fix for everyone. As I mentioned, it's all about context, but exploring and trying small things can be really effective in the long run. Sometimes the biggest challenges are sorted out by small things. Next episode, I'll be talking about the difference between desire, pleasure, and arousal. Thank you for hanging out and see you all next time.